This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Volusia Today. This is Clayton Jackson with the Volusia County Community Information Division. We have a wonderful show today, but before we get into it, just want to throw out a few housekeeping items. First, just want to let everybody know that the annual State of the County event is just a few weeks away. It's going to be taking place on Wednesday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. So we just want everybody to know to keep an eye out for that. Also, we actually published the invitation. We have it available on our website. You could find the registration link there at volusia.org/SOC. Again, that's volusia.org/SOC. We also published it on our Facebook account a couple of days ago. So if you're interested in going to the event, you can register. And we just want to let everybody know that due to room occupancy limits, that we strongly encourage you to RSVP. There will be a lunch provided there. So in order to guarantee that you are able to get a seat and get a lunch, please RSVP. And now I just want to introduce the co-host for today's show, Michael Ryan. How are you doing, Michael?
Good morning. How are you?
You're doing great. So, let's go ahead and run into the show with the guest today. And just want everybody to know, this is her first time on the radio, Volusia Today. So let's welcome to the show, Aubrie Austin from the Emergency Management Division. How are you doing today, Aubrie?
I'm doing very well, Clayton. Thank you.
Great. So, before we get into the topic of today's show, which is actually Florida Severe Awareness Week, which actually kicks off this Monday, tell us a little bit about what the Emergency Management Division is.
The Emergency Management Division is responsible for providing situational awareness and providing logistics or resources to the county during a disaster. And when it's not a disaster, our job is to develop plans, provide training, exercise those plans with the community just to make sure that we're 100% prepared every time anything can happen.
Do y'all prepare for more than just hurricanes?
Absolutely.
So that's a common myth.
Yes, I know that we're called the hurricane people. However, there's a variety of hazards that could happen at any given time. It could be thunderstorms, it could be cold weather, it could be wildfires. You think, unfortunately, we have to think about terrorism events or cybersecurity events. So anything that could possibly go wrong and that may go wrong, we have to have a plan for.
Oh, you all do a wonderful job. It's always great working with you guys. Sadly, it's usually under bad circumstances. But again, we have a wonderful relationship. Just kind of let our listeners know out there that, when gray skies are in order, it's a hurricane approaching or during an active storm. Our team, Community Information, we're actually there with the emergency management team at the Emergency Operations Center. They pass the information along to us. Hey, this is what we need to communicate to the residents, to our visitors, and so forth. And then our team, we're responsible for drafting the news releases, the social media, emergency alerts. So, that's kind of how the flow works between our two divisions.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you. It's defending the county against different disasters is definitely a whole community process.
Oh, absolutely. So, let's talk about Florida's Severe Weather Awareness Week. In a nutshell, before we get into each of the specific days and events, tell us what it is.
The Florida Severe Weather Awareness Week is an opportunity to provide educational information out to our residents, the 300,000 people that just moved here, any visitors that we may have, to let them know what types of hazards may occur while they're here, what their impacts look like, maybe how they can prepare for it, just so that they're not finding out when it's actually happening. You can find the information all year long. But this week, we're actually going to go through and do one by one what they need to do, what preparedness looks like, push out some social media posts, push things out on our website just to make sure that people understand what can happen and what that looks like.
Aubrey, so Clayton touched on this early on. We think about hurricanes when we think about the EOC and emergency management in Florida, right? But I've served in the EOC under different circumstances. I'm sure you've also addressed other emergencies and disasters. What would those have been during your time at the EOC?
Since I've been there, we've had our share of, obviously, hurricanes. We've had our share of tornadoes. We've had lightning events, our severe thunderstorms that come through just about every afternoon in the summertime, and then also the pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a very significant role of pushing out information, collaborating with our partners. We were tasked with running the vaccination side out of the fairgrounds. So just depending on what the community needs is where we find ourselves and do our best work.
How long were you guys up and running, like at a level, 1 or 2 for COVID?
Probably for at least a year.
Yeah, I don't think people know that.
At least a year. We were definitely at least a level 2 with our citizens information up and running, with our staff actually out, in all of our entire staff out at the fairgrounds, running it, checking people in, making sure that the Department of Health had everything that they need, making sure the information was getting out to the citizens. It was definitely a full-time job, just that, without any other duties assigned.
Right. Help me understand. I think because as Floridians, we take the spring weather kind of for granted. Just it rains every day at 3 or 4, and we know that, and we just take an umbrella with us. But that also can get severe. You touched on that too. Tell me a little more. Yeah.
So you think about our thunderstorms. Just like in a hurricane, we can get severe winds. I mean, our everyday afternoon thunderstorm can produce 70-mile-per-hour winds. We could get several inches of rain and cause quick flooding, the lightning strikes that are going to come through there, the tornadoes that can get produced, and hail. So if you take all of those individual hazards and lump them into one significant thunderstorm, it's a pretty big deal. And we just think as a 30-minute rainstorm that comes through, but it actually has the potential of creating some major damage.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So is it true that lightning never strikes the same place twice?
Actually, no. One of the things that they talk about is the Empire State Building gets hit an average of 23 times a year.
A year?
A year. And that's just because of how high it is in the air, and it's got, a peak at the top. So the higher you are, and it seems like I would say like communication towers and things that are high in the air, those are the things that get struck most frequently, but it does strike the same place more than one time.
So your house could, in theory, be hit twice?
Yes. A person could, in theory, be hit twice, yes.
Well, and Clay, I think you and I are probably safe, but we may want to talk to Dave. And let him know.
Dave's a few inches taller than us. So we're on the topic of lightning real quick, but tell us some general safety guidelines that residents should follow in the event that lightning is on the horizon.
One of the things that a lot of people think of is you need to be indoors. I know that we've heard the misconception that you can just go duck and cover and the lightning is going to go right through and hit the ground and actually hurt you. And that's just a myth. You're actually supposed to get inside or under cover in your vehicle, something with a hard top to keep you safe from lightning. Don't be in the water. They say lightning can actually travel through your house, through your pipes if you're in the shower. So it's really just trying to be away from the water and under a significantly covered building.
If I were standing in the shower and got hit by light, I would be so mad.
So I had a friend who actually was standing in the shower, and lightning struck the tree next to the house, and the limb came through the shower.
Oh, wow.
No.
And random acts of whoever, but you just never know. Mother Nature has a way of letting us know that she's here, and
she's in charge.
She's in charge.
So, all right, let's flip gears to the Tuesday topic, rip currents. So I know our beach safety team, they're listening to this. So I just want to shout to Andy, Tammy, Mark Swanson, and all of them. But tell us a little bit about rip currents real quick.
Rip currents happen just about every day. They're very powerful. They're fast-moving water that's going to go up the coast. They talk about it's like 8 feet per second the water's being moved, and they say that's quicker than an Olympic swimmer. So a lot of people get caught up in them, not realizing how far they are or where they are, and then as fast as they move, I think people start to panic is the biggest concern. And the idea is, there's the safety measures in there is don't panic, tread some water or float. If you're a powerful swimmer or a great swimmer, maybe an Olympian, swimmer, maybe then you try to swim through it. But other than that, it's just let it take you. It's not going to pull you under, but let it take you how far down. Wave your hands if you can to a lifeguard, and make sure you're always swimming in front of a lifeguard. Always.
So I think maybe Dave, he's our coastal expert on the community information team. Maybe he threw out this, like, don't fight, swim left to right. So you don't want to try to fight, get back to shore, but if you can kind of swim parallel to the coastline.
Correct.
So, and also, just want to give the plug in there, download the Volusia Beaches app. Yes. Beach safety. I know you're smiling right now, but we always want to promote that. If you do enjoy the beautiful beaches that Volusia County has to offer, please download the Beaches app. There you can find weather, ocean conditions, as well as where staffed lifeguard towers will be that day.
Absolutely. And don't forget to drink water, okay? It's super hot in Florida. When you're at the beach, all those things, yes, but please also make sure they're drinking water so that they're hydrated. And if they do get out there and they do get stuck, they're not overwhelmed and exert themselves even more because they're dehydrated.
I mean, for our visitors who are not from Florida and don't go to the beach every day, how do they identify a rip current? Is there a way to see it from the beach?
There is. I am definitely not an expert, but I can tell you that I've seen pictures and I've seen the beach myself as I've lived in Volusia County my entire life. Is like you can see like the scalloped pattern on the shore can identify that there is a rip current. You can look at there'll be like narrow channels and it'll be rough. Like you can definitely almost see like a churn.
Right.
You see the rough of the surf and look for that scalloping and just be aware. Always know what's going on, and then the beach app also will tell you what that looks like for them.
Perfect. All right, so before let's take our first break, why don't we knock out Wednesday's day, which is tornadoes. So not to be confused with hurricanes, but they both are known for wind. But tell us a little bit about hurricanes and why they pose a threat to the community.
Tornadoes are quick, and sometimes you don't even realize that they're coming. They can happen any time of the year, just like our thunderstorms. They're strong, they're loud, they're whirling debris, and a lot of times it's in the middle of the night. Most tornadoes happen in the middle of the night. And a lot of times we're not paying attention, so we always try to have people aware, like you need to have a weather radio or at least not have turned off your alerts on your phone.
Download the emergency management app.
Download the emergency management app so that you do get a warning, because the lead time for a tornado is not very long. It's minutes. So if you're going to get that warning, that means a funnel cloud has been seen, it has touched ground, and it's on its way toward your area.
Aubrie, with the EOC, how is your response different for a hurricane than it is for tornadoes? It's
going to depend on the size and how much damage there is. Initially, when we had the tornado, and I think it was 2019 in DeLand, our staff actually went to DeLand and went to the command post and worked with the city of DeLand because it was an isolated incident. Now, if we had a tornado that went across DeLand, Daytona, New Smyrna, Ormond, and kind of was all over the place, then we would operate outside of the EOC to be able to provide that information and resources to everybody. But kind of when they're in one location, it's almost easiest for us to be able to exchange that information one-on-one versus in a distance down the road.
Okay.
Yep, and actually we already had a few tornado scares already this year. A couple weeks ago, I think y'all pulled me over to the EOC, and I was shooting out news releases and social media to just bring awareness to
Correct.
About the situation.
And that same time that we were talking about having our significant weather, you have to think in Flagler County, they've already had two tornadoes this year. So we're not far off. So it's just making sure that we're 100% prepared, understanding what the conditions look like and how bad those impacts could be.
That window for tornadoes, how long does that last? And I know we can have one anytime during the year, but...
For us, we see most tornadoes in the wintertime. Unless there's a hurricane. Hurricanes will bring tornadoes as well.
Spawn them.
But during the wintertime is when we see the most tornadoes in Volusia County.
Okay.
All right. Interesting information. So with that, we're going to take our first commercial break. Stay with us for more Volusia Today.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
Welcome back, everyone, to Volusia Today. This is Clayton Jackson with the Community Information Division. I'm joined today by my co-host Michael Ryan, and from the Volusia County Emergency Management Division, Aubrie Austin. So today we're talking about Florida's annual Severe Weather Awareness Week, which actually kicks off this coming Monday, February 5th. We've already covered 3 of the days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So now let's turn it over to Thursday, which I guess some people say it's the star of the show, which is hurricanes. So we've still got a few months before the official hurricane season kicks off. But right now, beginning of February, Aubrie, what type of preparations should our residents be taking right now?
Residents should be developing a plan, understanding what they're going to do. Some people want to stay, some people want to leave, some people want to go to shelters, but right now is the time to actually develop that plan of understanding where they're going to go and what they're going to do. We want them to have an emergency preparedness kit. A lot of times for the last 10 years, they talked about having 3 days worth, supply of goods and water, but now they're pushing it to 7. With disruption of services and the ability to get places, they're saying that 7 days is better than 3 days because you just never know how bad things are going to be. And if you look at things like Hurricane Michael or Hurricane Ian, you may not have power for a week. What does that look like for you? You're not going to have a freezer. You're not going to have a stove, a microwave. What does that look like, and what do you need to sustain? I can't tell you what would be best in everybody's kit because everybody has a different dietary need. So I normally tell people what works for you. Like I look at my household, I've got 3 kids and a husband. All they care about is potato chips. As long as I give them each 3 bags of their potato chips, they don't care, they're happy. But not everyone can live like that. So whatever works best for them and keeps them happy, calm, and content is what they actually need to put in their kits. Review their insurance, especially their flood insurance. And not all insurances carry flood insurance. So that is unfortunately a separate fee that people will have to pay. But we found during Hurricane Ian in the Volusia County that 40% of our individuals who flooded did not have flood insurance. And it became a big deal. So we're trying to push the flood insurance program to make sure people are prepared.
And sorry, I just want to stop right there because flood insurance, that is it's imperative to have.
Yes.
I remember Jim Judge, the former emergency management director, now emergency services director. He always said, there's an easy way to tell if you need to buy flood insurance. Easy way. Said, pull out your driver's license, look at it.
If it says
and if it
Florida.
says Florida on
Yes.
it, you need flood insurance.
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
And people need to go ahead and start looking right now because most of the policies, it takes a month or so to become
Takes
effective.
30 days,
So
yes.
you can't say, oh, we're under hurricane watch and call your insurance company like, hey, can you throw on a flood insurance policy for me? It doesn't work like that.
No, you're absolutely correct. And if you think about just our geography, we're surrounded by water. Even if you take away the coast, we've got lakes and rivers everywhere. So if you just have to think, if you can see water, I would definitely double check to see what flood insurance would look like for you.
And the I guess the zone, I'm not sure exactly what you call it, but there's different
The
risk
floods.
levels of risk for flooding.
Yes, sir.
Because if you're in a high risk, I think your mortgager, they would require you to carry flood insurance.
Yes, if you live in a flood zone, your mortgage company will require you to have flood insurance.
But don't let that fool you. Just because you're not in that high risk doesn't mean you don't need flood insurance.
Correct.
Aubrey, one of our questions here is to talk about the myths about hurricanes.
Yes.
And so I wanted to know your thought on the infamous Florida hurricane party. Is that a really good idea to stock the bar and invite all your friends over?
No, I would not have.
You would not do that?
I would not have a hurricane party. Definitely, if you're all going to get together and be safe in one house, yes, but you definitely need to understand what's going on. If you're going to have a party and you're going to drink a little alcohol, you need to be aware and conscious of what's going on, because at any given time, winds can pick up, flooding can happen, and we wouldn't want anyone to be stranded and not be able to get out where they need to go.
There you go, Clayton. Looks like you're going to have a different summer, a different hurricane season.
Hey, I'll be at the EOC with you guys if a hurricane's coming. So
I tell you, that's funny. A couple of years ago, I was not in the EOC for the first time in my entire career, and I forget, a hurricane came through. I forget which one it was, and I was so unprepared. I had half of our electricity went out. We had no water. It's like I was used to being in the EOC with Clayton and knowing that I had electricity and hot water and stuff, and it was a good learning experience for us.
Now, I ask a lot of people all the time, if I would anticipate always losing power. If a hurricane is coming, the anticipation should be you're going to lose power. And it could be for 30 minutes, 2 days, 3 weeks. You just don't know, because you don't know where the debris is going to fly. You don't know which tree is going to uproot and knock out some power lines. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I try to explain to people, be grateful if you don't lose power, but always to anticipate losing power.
All right. So we do have hurricanes are so famous in Florida that the hurricanes actually get their own separate week, Hurricane Preparedness Week. So we're going to make sure to bring you back on the show for that point. But is there something coming up in the next few months that our residents kind of need to put on their radar for hurricane awareness?
Yes, it looks like in conjunction with our COAD, which is Community Organizations Active in Disaster, we look to be having a Hurricane Expo in the very beginning of May. We're looking for hopefully the first Saturday, which would be May 4th. So anyone who's a Star Wars fan, may the 4th be with you. So we're trying to do an expo that day. It should be at the fairgrounds, and we're welcoming anybody to come. It's open to all residents, businesses, anyone who has any questions about hurricanes, emergency management, or any other hazards. Emergency management will be there with a booth handing out information and providing question and answers sessions or whatever people need. We will be there along with other community organizations.
Yeah, I remember, I think the last time we did it was before the pandemic, 2019. I think so. And I remember I was there for that event. I remember there was insurance companies talking about flood insurance policies. There was shutter companies, roofing. There's all types of different ones that people talk about. So it was the attendance, it blew my mind. I did not think it would attract that many people, but it did. It was amazing.
It's something that we're definitely looking forward to get back to doing every year. Clayton, another thing that we're going to start doing is town hall meetings, actually. One of the things that we're trying to get scheduled for the end of April, the beginning of May, is at different libraries. Held in the evening hours so that people don't have to take off work and have the opportunity to come and listen to presentations and have those questions, get those answers that they need, and talk about preparedness and what that looks like. And it might not just be hurricanes. We'll have all hazard information.
So I guess you're going to need my help getting the word out there, right?
You know it.
Okay. All right. So before we take our last break, just want to touch on cold temperatures. That's Fridays. So I know some people out there like, cold weather in Florida, what's this guy's? Did he mean to say warm? It's like, no, I actually meant to say cold weather. So tell us real quick, what kind of preparation should people make if there's cold weather coming to Florida?
If there's cold weather, and cold means a different thing to different people. We look at cold weather as under 40 degrees, right? So what we want to do is make sure people are taking care of their plants, cover them if they can't sustain the cold weather, throw a blanket over there if you can, make sure they're taking care of their pets, make sure pets are warm and inside, and if you have outside pets, try to make sure they have something to stay warm. You could put blankets out for them to sit on, and then we also want to take care of our homes. I know that we don't get the severe cold weather that they do as in up north or the northeast, but you make sure that you don't have any cracks. Make sure you're putting, sealants in so that your windows aren't leaking, or your front door is actually on the hinge, right, so that you don't have the cold air coming in, because cold air can be pretty devastating. And if you think if we ever have any ice, what that looks like on the roadway. So it's always being prepared.
And before we take our last break, tell us about cold weather shelters. We put out some information on our social media, to the media, news releases, so forth like that. How do those operate?
The cold weather shelters, we operate in coordination with the nonprofits and churches in our community. Again, it's that 40-degree temperature. And then we make sure they have the resources that they need. In collaboration with other community partners, we'll make sure that they've got water, MREs if they need them, blankets, socks, whatever is needed to help people keep warm.
So it's a misconception some people might have is the county, we don't actually operate the shelters. We, the Emergency Management Division, especially you guys, you are just kind of coordination. You reach out to our nonprofits and let them kind of figure it out. Then they let you all know, hey, this is what we're doing. We need this many cots, MREs, what have you. And then you all communicate that to our division, and then we shoot the message out there. So
correct.
Excellent.
We do a lot of coordination, and we're grateful for our community partners, because without them, we would have no cold weather sheltering.
Yes. Thank you guys, and we'll throw it out there. All right, with that, we're going to take our last commercial break. Stay with us for more Volusia Today.
Make the most of your day at the beach. Download the Volusia County Beaches app today. Sign up for real-time notifications on vehicle ramp openings and closings. Find staffed lifeguard towers. Get updates on tides and beach conditions, plus off-beach parking and coastal parks info. Volusia County Beaches app is available for your smart devices at the App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back, everyone, to Volusia Today. So we have with us today our guest, Aubrie Austin. And before we end today's show, Aubrie, tell us what got you into the field of emergency management.
I've always loved the weather, and I thought I wanted to be a storm chaser one day in my life, but that's not realistic. And when I was at UCF, I stumbled upon the emergency management program, got an internship, loved it ever since.
Well, go ahead, Michael.
Colleen, real quick before we go, because we only have a couple seconds left, I think we need to say goodbye to a member of our team. Jared, it's your last day today.
Yes.
Goodbye. Thank you very much for helping us get here.
Yep, Jared, we're going to miss you. Best of luck in everything. And we want to thank you, Volusia County, for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.